guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today should be somewhat fun. We got new rears for the drift car, but we got to do a little bit of adapting. So let me move those out of the way and then we'll jump into that. All right, so we got 4 spares for the rear of Auden DSO5s. Tires are completely burnt out, but that's okay because the tires that are on them right now, we wouldn't be able to spin. And I think they're 265s. We just don't have the torque to break something like that loose, but we need to test fit. Now, I've already moved one of the fronts to the rear and put the 15 mil spacer from the front on the rear. And you can see the plus 22 causes it to poke, but when it cambers in, or it's actually like sitting on the wheel, it pretty much tucks the entire tire. Those are plus 30. So they're not gonna fit quite as aggressively, which I actually kind of appreciate. I don't want the wheel poking as much as I just want it to be as close to flush to the fender as possible. And once we swap tires onto those, it should give me the fitment I'm looking for. But aside from that, it's also, they're just going to fit right, and I got them for a really good deal. Thanks to Andrew Schulte for hitting me up on those. I'll always take some decent looking spares as long as the price is right. But right now I'm gonna go ahead and pull the front off of the rear. We're gonna just go ahead and put that up front for now and set it aside. And then I need to start removing the rear lug studs from the hubs so we can use adapter spacers. These are 5x114. I wasn't really able to find reasonably priced 5x120s that would fit the wide body how I wanted them to, and looks are definitely a somewhat big thing for me. So we're going to be using some 8 prints 5x120 to 5x114 adapters to get them on. So let's go ahead and get those studs pulled out so that way we can actually start fitting those up. All right, so got one set of studs out of the car. They're definitely a little hard to work out, but they were red Loctite in to make sure they never budge. So I'm gonna go ahead and just run a brush through the threads and make sure that any red Loctite that's left over is kind of cleaned up. Spray it out with a can of air real quick because I don't have a compressor, and then we'll move on to installing the adapter on, at least on this one side. Okay, so time to get this bad puppy installed. Now, before we go into this, because I know that this is kind of a polarizing topic, adapters should be okay so long as you get good quality adapters with upgraded hardware and you torque them to spec. That's extremely important, as well as having hub-centric rings or bore. So this right here, 72.6. This right here, 72.6 outer, right? So all right, so the other one has the hub-centric ring. The other one that I was just showing you guys is missing it, so I'm gonna reach out to the homie Rick, see if he has the extra one, but no biggie. If not, can always order another one, not a big deal. But as you can see, the spacer should be able to index on the hub bore. like so. And then we're just going to twist it, yikes, until we can align these. So we're gonna go ahead and get the lug holes aligned, make sure it's nice and snug.
Bloody ringing in my ears.
And now we're going to torque that on using these shorty little lug studs, and that'll get them held on, and will be converted to 5x114. So let's get that done, torque them on with some Loctite, and we'll be that much closer to fitting 5x114s in the rear. Okay, so we have the adapter spacers bolted up to the hub, torqued down. Now it's the moment of truth. Now mind you, I do need hub-centric rings for the wheels, so this is just a rough test fit. I'm not going to be running anything without hub-centric rings, so just keep that in mind. I know already, and I'm being careful, so keep that in mind as I'm going through this. Hub-centric rings are already on the way. They'll be here in 2 or 3 days, and all the wheels will be able to index correctly with the hub. But for now, I just want to make sure and test fit everything, as I do have some tires on the way too, so that way we can get everything done and we can make a alignment appointment that I've set up. So let's go ahead and get these mocked up, put a couple lug nuts on them, and we'll see how everything looks. All right, so tires are a little bit big. Obviously, that's not the size of tire that I run on this car. 255s are way too wide for my application. So we're gonna run to the tire shop. I'm gonna get 2 of the tires dismounted. I'm not gonna worry about the other 2 because when tires get here, I'm gonna be at the tire shop anyways. And honestly, I don't wanna sit there for longer than I really have to. So I'm gonna go get 2 tires unmounted so we just have wheels without tires. It'll make compressing the suspension and seeing what the fitment will look like once the car's actually sitting on the ground a lot easier. So I will check back in with you guys here in a little while. All right, so we're back from the shop. I got the wheels back with the tires off. And I went ahead and in the meantime, I've already installed the 5x114 converter, adapter, whatever you want to call it, over on the driver's side as well. So we're now effectively 5x114 in the rear with adapters until I can get around to redrilling some hubs and doing it the quote right way. But this will at least get us through FuelFest. So this is what we're looking at. Actually, let me turn the camera around. So this is what we're looking at for the rears. I do have that jacked up to where the spring starts forcing the body to lift off the jack stands. And as far as that's concerned, I definitely need to adjust my bump stops just in case we end up hitting lip to fender. I really wouldn't like that to not happen as we're about to paint the over fenders and paint match them to the body. So yeah, I think these should work. They're poking a little bit more than I would generally go for, but I mean, they're 2 or 3 mil poking further than what I would like. And realistically, there's no adapter under 15 millimeters thick that I would be comfortable running. That being said, this next year, I am ordering a jig, and we're doing new hubs and bearings all around. So it'll help to just re-drill everything to 5x114, so we can just run that. And then realistically, then we only need to run a 12 mil spacer or a 12 mil spacer in the rear to get the fitment exactly where I want, as far as 18 by 9.5s. I could technically go down to 18 by 9s and would use plus 30 offset, but then I'm not getting as much tire stretch. I kind of like tire stretch, and from anecdotal experience, it does kind of help with the sidewall rolling over, so keeps things a little more stiff. But yeah, all in all, I think this will work. We have tires in the mail right now, so they'll be here next Saturday, and we'll get those mounted up and get the car back on the ground, because we are going to be running and getting in alignment the next weekend, and then finally paint matching the fenders the weekend after that. And then the weekend after that, it's FuelFest.
And then I never stopped.
But we have the rear converted to 5x114 now, so we got that out of the way. I got everything torqued down with Loctite, blue Loctite, just so I can actually remove them when the time comes. And then we have some hub-centric rings to go into the wheels to actually make them to the adapters correctly, so we're not causing any kind of weird vibrations or things aren't out of balance. But yeah, I think this will be a good look, especially with the fronts being wider as well. Excited to see how it turns out once we have tires on it. We can actually set it on the ground and we can see how it's going to look. But we have a set of 4 rears now, so we have a spare set just in case anything ever goes wrong. We're good to go. I'm happy with it. That being said, that's about all I have for today. Coming up here soon, I am going to be doing just like a bump stop adjustment on the rear, just to make sure to eliminate any kind of potential issues there. And just waiting for tires to come in. I got some more steering lock limiters from SLR coming. I know I'm not running SLR, but their limiters are really inexpensive. They're easy to put on, and I think that will help me set up the steering rack to where I'm not touching tire to the frame and binding up the steering, so I can still huck it as hard as I want to, but I'm not going to be touching the inside of the frame rail with tire, because that's been just a recurring issue that constantly happens. I'd like to eliminate that as best as I can. And then yeah, just here and there housekeeping items. I'm going to be cleaning things up and just making it all pretty, because it's still very dusty in the engine bay and inside the car. But I appreciate everybody coming by, checking out the video this week. I know it's a pretty short one. It's nothing super crazy, but we're gearing up for the crazy stuff later this month. So leave a like, comment down below, let me know what you guys would like to see next, and I will see you guys next week. But until then, everybody stay easy,